Bennett in Game 5. They must win Game 6 to send the series back to Toronto for a Game 7. And the heroes of the Hemp Hut brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in. Joseph Woll again in goal for Toronto. Anthony Stolarz has not made the trip. He has not recovered sufficiently from what is apparently a concussion. Woll is 2-3 with a 4.02 goals against average. Sergei Bobrovsky in the postseason, 7-3, 2.46 and an 8.99 save percentage. But the Leafs have got to be better, not just the core four. They've got to be better from top to bottom in this lineup, because the lesser lights of the Florida Panthers are decidedly outpointing and outproducing the third and fourth lines of the Leafs.
Oh, absolutely. However, you wouldn't mind a Mikko Rantanen type game from Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner in this one with their season on the line.
There have been a lot of other games that have been blowouts that have produced sweeping changes. After sweeping Edmonton in the previous year's final, the Islanders had a blowout. They lost 6-1 in Game 2. But the Oilers prevailed at 5-2 to hoist the first of 5 Stanley Cups. Detroit blew out game with Pittsburgh 5-0. The Penguins, and then the Wings were on the brink of a second straight cup over the Penguins. The Penguins tightened up and ended up winning the series in 7. These games happen. You don't know why. You wish they hadn't. You just have to throw it out the door and let it go. We're ready for the opening faceoff, and the puck is dropped, and it is cleared quickly in on Joseph Woll in the Toronto zone. Played off to Chris Tanev, who launches it high into the center ice zone. Batted back to neutral ice to the Leaf blue line. Marchand trying to get a shot away, had it partially blocked. McCabe getting it around back of the net for Tanev. Up on the wings for Matthews, back to Tanev. Cross ice now to defense partner McCabe, and the Leafs will get it to the blue line, but not in deep. Florida having to change, and the Leafs are doing likewise. Brought to center ice by Mikkola. Sent back down into the Toronto zone. Chopped at there by Tavares. Grabbed off by Pontus Holmberg. Fed around the boards to the near side for the defense, and cleared out at center and off a body and down into the zone. But it's going to be an icing call. That was a tight spot. I thought that was off a body in the center ice area, but to no avail. It'll be an icing call here against Toronto.
We saw with Sam Bennett scoring off the draw in Toronto in the previous game, how important faceoffs can be.
So the faceoff coming back into the Toronto end. And the draw won by Florida back to the point. A shot deflects in front of the goal. Blocker to the near side. Pontus Holmberg skates it down the near boards. Gets to the line and in. Got a shot away that was easily kicked into the corner there by Bobrovsky. Leafs get it back at the net with Nylander sending it around to the near point. But it's pushed out at center ice. And down into the Toronto zone it goes. And Tavares hustling back to reverse the puck to Morgan Rielly. Up on the wing, it's played by Carlo. Down into Florida territory, but Pacioretty couldn't get to it. Panthers bringing it right back on the left wing side for Verhaeghe. He gets it into the Toronto zone on the far side. Trying to dig it free is Sam Bennett. Bennett got it along the boards. Kachuk couldn't get it out of the skates. And then Domi steps into Kachuk, but the puck goes free to Bennett. Bennett dropping it back to the blue line. Kulikov sends it down and around back of the Toronto goal for Bennett. Bennett reverses the puck again. A centering pass comes into the goal crease area, but the Leafs are going to launch that quickly out at center ice. Nicely underway. Approaching 2 minutes played. First period of Game 6. Do or die for the Maple Leafs. In along the boards, Tanev getting it ahead on the near wing, backhanded to center ice and down into Florida territory. Quickly cleared back at center, and it's grabbed off there by Yarncrook, who will regroup the puck. Leafs fourth line out now with Tanev, launching it high into Florida territory. Yarncrook gets a bit of a hit in along the boards, but the Panthers get it out, and it's bouncing into the center ice area, where it's picked off by Scotty Laughton. Laughton dropping it back for McCabe, gets a return pass, had it knocked off his stick. It'll go back to McCabe. McCabe trying to work a way around back of the net, falls, got it back again from Laughton. The pass comes up the middle, and Nye starts away at center. Nye's playing it off a skate and in over the line. Marner couldn't reach it. Neither could Matthews as the puck comes back the other way. In across the line for Marchand, but he has it taken away by Nyes, and Nyes skates away from Marchand's forechecking to find the Leaf defense, and Riley will play it out into the center ice area and down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky leaving it back to the net. Quickly played up the boards, and out they come again. Brought to center ice now by Forsling. He got it in on the left wing for Lundell. Lundell sweeping it around to the far corner. Trying to come out with it now was Luosterainen. He gets it back to the point. Long shot in traffic. Blocked. The rebound in front. Knocked away, and Marner starts away for Toronto. Got it ahead on the wing for Nyes, or at least for Pontus Holmberg. And it is shot down into the Florida zone. Reinhart dropping it back. Forsling starting out with it. He works to the left wing side to center. Shot it in, but there's an arm up from a linesman. Not sure if this is icing or offside, but we'll wait and see. Johnny Murray and James Tobias are the linesmen. Garrett Rank and Jean Hebert are the referees.
Something that we're really going to have to look at as this goes on. This is an amazing stat, but Paul Maurice in the playoffs with the Florida Panthers is 26-0 when leading after any period. I mean, that's an amazing. You talk about being able to protect the leads.
Yep. Leafs chop it down to the blue line, but don't get it in deep and don't get a forecheck started as it's played by Mikkola into the center ice area. Bouncing puck played to the right wing side, backhanded into the Leaf zone by Boquist. Oliver Ekman-Larsson getting it up on the wing, and the Leafs start out with it. A long lead pass off of Nylander's stick goes deep into Florida territory, but the Leafs aren't going to get much pressure here as they are in the midst of a change. Played out into the center ice area. That's going to cause an icing, I believe. No, waved off. Not sure why. Didn't look like anybody touched it. Leafs get it through center on the left wing. Domi sending it in. Leafs scratches again are Robertson, and a shot taken there as well. Yarncrook back into the lineup, and Pontus Holmberg back into the lineup as well. Panthers across the line. Tkachuk into the slot area, and a shot is swallowed up there by Wall out at the top of the crease to take it away from Sam Bennett. And a face-off coming in the Toronto zone. 15:27 to go here in period number one. Single shot apiece thus far.
And with Sam Bennett, the first shot on goal for the Florida Panthers. Pontus Holmberg, a very dangerous shot that the Leafs were able to get on goal off the rush, high from the slot that Sergei Bobrovsky took in the midsection. That's like Joseph Wall does here. One of the things we've noticed, Joe, the last couple of games is the Leafs have had a lot of trouble with the Florida forecheck and have had very little success with their own.
Played down into the Toronto zone, around the boards, back of the net. Carlo got it freed up for Riley. Leafs start up at center with a pass that went off Pontus Holmberg stick and down into Florida territory. He gets down there to get in on Forsling, but the puck is pushed ahead and now stolen back by the Maple Leafs. Fired in around back of the net. Lawton back of the goal trying to pry it free, but it's knocked up on the left wing boards for A.J. Greer, and the Panthers get clear of it, and this is going to turn into another icing, and it's coming back into the Florida zone. I think our audio is just a tad off the video that we're watching, isn't it? So we apologize for that. Face-off coming in the Florida zone. 14:52 to play here in period number one. Linesman getting them ready for the face-off. And the puck is dropped to come back to the point, and a shot went off a leg and went wide. It comes back into the corner for Matthews. Matthews had his stick being held, but no call. Marner against the boards is pinned there by Ekblad, and it's cleared but not out. Kept in by Matthews, who took a shot and it was blocked. And now we get a whistle.
Penalty coming up.
A.J. Greer is down. Did he take a high stick?
Penalty number 2, 2 minutes. Interference.
An interference call to Benoit.
And that's inside the Florida zone. So the Leafs, it was disastrous. In game number 4, taking 4 straight penalties. And here, I mean, you got to call this.
Well, Benoit thought the puck was going to reach Greer, and if it hadn't been intercepted, it would have, and the play would have probably been okay, right?
Yeah.
But turns into an interference call.
Take those penalties in the offensive zone are horrid.
Draw to the right is won by Florida. Back to the point to Jones. Jones to the side of the net. Verhaeghe gets it again in the near corner. Back of the net, it goes around the boards from Reinhart. To the far side, trying to cut in. Goes down back to Reinhart. Reinhart into the slot for Jones. Doesn't shoot it. Jones off on the right wing side. Barkov with a shot that's blocked. And it is covered up by Wall on the doorstep with a face-off coming with 1:38 to go in the power play for Florida. In this series, they are 4 of 18. And on the playoff year, they're 8 of 34 with the man advantage. Draw one again by Florida. Puck back to the point. Fed to the far side. It comes back to the point to Jones. A shot blocked in front of the net. Leafs don't get it out and had a chance to clear. Kept alive on the far side for Verhaeghe. Down around back of the net. Barkov had it knocked away by Tanev. Tanev gets it freed up. It comes back, though, to the far side. And a wrist shot taken. Wall kicked that into the corner. McCabe chipping it to the line, but not out. Kept alive by Florida to the near side. Verhaeghe with a shot. Sprawling to block. That was Tanev. And it's cleared by Toronto out and down the ice. Minute to go in the power play. First of the game for either team. Drop pass from Schmidt. Allows Bennett to come to the line and in for Marchand. Marchand swinging it around the boards. It'll come to the far side. That draws a crowd on the wall. The puck is stolen, and Yarncrook will get it the rest of the way down the ice for the Maple Leafs.
Well, Leafs are trying to keep it as simple as possible, right? On your stick, get it out. Scotty Laughton had a moment where he was frustrated not being able to move it.
Bouncing puck goes down into the Toronto zone. Swung around to the far side. Cut off by Marner. Marner tees it up for a defenseman. And down the ice it'll go again with 20 seconds left in the first power play. 3 shots for the Panthers. 1 for the Maple Leafs. No score. Down into the Toronto zone again. Laughton getting it freed up, but the puck comes back to the point. Forsling, far side, and a shot that's deflected wide of the Leaf goal. It comes in front of the net. Gobbled up by Toronto and fired out and down the ice on a bounce that goes wide of the goal, and that will conclude the power play as the Leafs are able to kill it off. Tavares line over the boards for the Maple Leafs. Played in over the line on the left wing side. Drop pass. Here's Tavares getting in with a shot. It goes wide. Brandon Carlo with a shot. That bounces in front of the net. Tavares a swipe at it. And it went off his stick and went wide. Tavares ties his man up to keep the puck in pursuit, but he plays it off out center, and Nylander gets it back in over the line. Holmberg trying to work back of the goal, finds a shot from a sharp angle from Tavares and went wide. Carlo a shot that's blocked. Rebound in front of the net, went past the stick of Tavares. Leafs with good pressure here. Holmberg is knocked down from behind. Might have been an interference penalty. It goes around back of the net, and Forsling has it again for Florida to get it out, and he does to center ice.
Best bit of pressure by the Leafs easily. John Tavares, Joe, just as you call it, just had the puck go past him, or he had an empty net tap in.
Kulikov with it in his own zone. Starts out for the Panthers. Bank pass off the left wing boards to Barkov, who sends it in. Benoit tied up his man. The puck goes back off his skate to the blue line. Long shot is blocked. Comes back to Jones again. He's trying to get an opening to shoot it. When he does, good diving play made by Domi to knock a rebound in front of the net into the corner. Domi looking for a loose puck to materialize now as it's up against the wall. Poke free for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Larsson now has it back on the boards. Around the wall, it's going to go and find Jones at the right point. He'll keep it in for Florida. Trip there was a Ekman-Larsson taking his man down, but no call.
Yeah, there is.
Well, there is a call.
4 straight penalties in game 3 and 2 straight before the midway mark of the first period in game 2. And another kind of lazy penalty. You get caught reaching on the far boards, and the Leafs are playing with fire here in the first period.
Penalty kill brought to you by our Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with new Civic Hybrid, proudly built here in Ontario. Visit your first period brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca. Another win on the face-off by Florida. Verhaeghe on the left wing boards. Back into the slot. Jones to the right wing side. No shot from Barkov. Barkov holds. Knocks it back to the blue line. Slides it off to Jones. Jones down into the left wing corner. Centering pass. Broken up nicely there by Matthews. Matthews comes into the corner with it, but can't control it. Round on the boards, Barkov. Had it knocked away. Backhanded to the line and out and down the ice by the Maple Leafs. Minute 27 in the second consecutive power play. Pardon me. For the Florida Panthers. Getting a little choked up, Mr. Well. Shot down into the Toronto zone. Along the boards near corner. Played to the line, but not enough. They had an ample opportunity to clear there and didn't, as Carlo couldn't get enough on it. Hammered there by Benoit, but it'll be trapped on the far side by Tkachuk. Stolen by Benoit, and he fans on it trying to clear. Kept in by Barkov. Barkov with a deflection in front of the net. Still free. It comes back to the blue line, and mercifully, this time it comes out into neutral ice.
Boy, the Leafs had to wait for the Panthers to do it 3 times. The Leafs had a chance to clear it in about a 6-second span and could only bounce it to the blue line.
Bennett in on the right side. Stolen back by the Maple Leafs. Chipped high, this time out and down the ice again. And it'll get down into Florida territory with 27 seconds left in it. The power play is Schmidt. Starts out of his own zone. He drops the puck for Bennett. Bennett to the line and in on the left wing for Marchand. Along the boards for Tanev. Tanev to his defense partner, who got it ahead to Scotty Lawton. And Lawton rifles it off the boards and down the ice. Seems like a very simple thing to do. My goodness. Penalty expires. Leafs have dodged 2 bullets from the chamber. Brought on now by the Leafs to center. It comes across the line. Here's a shot by Matthews, and it deflects wide of the goal. Matthews with a good hit in the corner to play it to Marner in front of the goal. Backhand try by Knives. Big save, Bobrovsky. Best scoring chance so far for Toronto. Marner to the point. Carlo into the slot. It goes to Matthews, and a wrist shot goes off a body. Marner with the loose puck. Back to the point to Riley. A shot. That was stopped by Bobrovsky. Leafs pressing here as it comes to center ice. Morgan Riley playing it off the backboards to his defense partner and gets it returned quickly. Riley starts up with a lead pass off his stick down into Florida territory. No icing. Played off a stick to the near boards and brought out now by Verhaeghe, who will shoot it into the Toronto zone. Benoit ties up his man, and Pontus Holmberg turns with the puck, gives it back to the defense. It'll come to the near side to Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who gets it ahead at center. Holmberg's pass for Tavares was intercepted, but Brandon Carlo carries on into the slot area now for Nylander. Nylander with a shot that was deflected on goal and stopped, and it's cleared to center ice and knocked to the near boards then by the Maple Leafs. Carlo ties his man up and will regroup it. No score, first period. Cross the line now for Toronto. In along the boards and tackled there was Bobby McMahon. He got it free for Domi. Couldn't get a shot away. And when it was cleared into the slot area, it was by everybody and back into the Toronto zone. Pacioretty back to retrieve the puck. Reverses it for Carlo. Around on the boards, it'll come up on the wing. Pacioretty just gets it into neutral ice. A bouncing puck off his stick, though, is stolen by Domi. Domi into the corner. Domi tries to center, and it went off Pacioretty's stick. McCabe in the corner. Back of the net for Domi. Domi working in the far corner. Back to McCabe for a one-timer. And Bobrovsky has that. And is that McMahon sitting on him? He gets dragged off by one of the Panthers, and it'd be pretty easy to take somebody out of this scrum after the Leafs have taken the first 2 penalties of the game.
I think the reason McMahon goes into Bobrovsky is he got drilled looking for the rebound. But you've got to like Joe. Matthew Knies had the best opportunity of them all, but the Leafs, after the 2 penalty kills, have responded with a couple of solid shifts in the Florida zone. But Matthew Knies just couldn't get the backhand around the left pad of Sergei Bobrovsky.
No score, and you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Toronto and the Maple Leaf Radio Network. Glorious day to start the May 2-4 long weekend. Got a lot of yard work done today. Got my lawn done and Things coming in very nicely. I got a little chipping done today, too, Mr. Ralph. I might improve that part of the game.
My son got quite a bit done today.
Back to the point it goes. Oliver Ekman-Larsson plays it along into the far corner, then had it blocked, played it in a little bit deeper. Tavares couldn't get it back, and it comes to center ice for Nylander, sends it in over the line, and Tavares rolls it in on goal, scooped aside by Bobrovsky, played off the glass to the line, and a glove pass apparently is being whistled down here, so it'll bring it back into the center ice area.
Despite the fact the Panthers have had only 2 power plays of this game, Leafs have got a slight edge in shots on goal with 6-4. So we can say better than Game 5, but not dominant. What you were hoping was the start they had in Game 3 before they got off to the early 2-0 lead. You're going to start killing penalties to get back in your heels early.
Matthews, Marner, and Nyes for Toronto. Marner won the faceoff. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has to track it down in his own zone. Gets it ahead for Marner. Marner dropping it back for OEL, who carries to center with a pass in on the left wing. It's deflected down around back of the floor to goal. Marner gets his man in against the wall to allow the puck to go to Matthews. Matthews to Nyes. Nyes back to Matthews in tight quarters. Comes back to the point. OEL to the left point. Pass in front of the net. Went wide. Near corner for Nyes. Carries back along the board. Still with it. Nyes trying to bull his way to the front. Got it out in front. It comes back to the blue line. OEL a drive. That was stopped. The rebound centered in front. Back to the point again. Oliver Ekman-Larsson sends it along the boards for Matthews. Matthews walks the line to the near side for OEL. A pass back into the slot that didn't connect, but Matthews has the puck again with a shot, and that was deflected wide by Bobrovsky. Jones back to the floor to goal. Having difficulties getting out, was going to retrace his steps now in the corner, and he finds his defense partner Mikkola, who will get it into the neutral zone and out and down into the Leaf end. Here the Panthers in with a shot, and that went high and wide of the Leaf goal. Puck along the boards is brought out now by McMahon. McMahon chipping it in over the line and gets to it along the boards. Puts the brakes on in the corner. Rubbed out there by Schmidt. The puck goes around back of the net for Yarncrook. Yarncrook in the near corner. Cycles it back in along the boards. The Leafs trying to get a little cycle job going here. Centering pass. Went wide as it was intended there for Yarncrook. Leafs are able to keep it in, but Kulikov will get it ahead. Bennett playing it in, or at least Kachuk playing it in, but we've got a whistle, and we're still not quite with our audio, as it seems to be a bit ahead of us, but we're all right here. No score here in the period. 4 minutes, 38 seconds to go here in the first frame.
One of the things we love doing, too, is checking the readjustment of shots on goal.
Ooh, readjust.
They were 7-4 at one point.
Yep.
Now they're 7-2. Favoring the Leafs, as they've been able to get some shots onto Sergei Bobrovsky, but looking for that one fortunate bounce to open the scoring for Toronto.
4:38 to play in the period. Tavares wins the face-off. Centering pass. Pontus Holmberg couldn't get it in front. Riley sends it towards the net. Tavares got knocked down in front of the goal, and it's launched high to center ice by Florida. Here's Carlo. Quickly back in over the line for Tavares, and Riley was into the forecheck there, but it's pushed out at center ice. Panthers trying to get in over the line with a 2-on-1 opportunity, and they do. Into the slot, and a shot went high over top of the goal. Holmberg got back in time to disrupt that just enough.
Yeah, Morgan Riley got caught deep into the Florida zone. He was about the 4th man back on that odd man rush by the Florida Panthers that fortunately for the Leafs did not end up in a shot on goal.
Riley stationed back of the Toronto goal, taking his time. Now makes the pass ahead, and here's Matthews coming through center to the line and in. Got 1-1, goes into the corner, knocked away from him by Bobrovsky. He goes after it in the far corner and got filled in there. The puck along the boards for OEL, and his pass for Benoit was out of his reach, forcing the Leaf defense back into the center ice area. Nyes trying to work in over the line, launches it high into the corner. 3:29 to go in a scoreless first period. Marner in against the boards against Jones. Tried to play it out, knocked Jones down. And it's brought out at center ice now by Barkov on the left wing and in over the line there for Reinhart. He couldn't make a play. Now carries down into the left wing corner. Managed to get it back to the point. Schmidt to the far side. A shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal. Kept in by Schmidt on the near side, but cut off in the corner. And the Maple Leafs will start out with a long pass intended for a leap forward back at the blue line. Not sure who that was. Might have been Yarncrook. Yarncrook now back into the defensive responsibilities. The puck goes around to the far side. Lawton trying to pin his man Kulikov. It goes into the near corner. Leafs reversing it now, and it'll be Benoit starting out in the far corner, getting a long lead pass to center. Backhanded deep into Florida territory to allow the Leafs to change. 2.5 minutes to go in a scoreless first period. Forsling is back at the Panther goal. Got it to the Leaf blue line. A turnover there. Leafs play it back at center. Off a stick. Benoit. And now a whistle for some reason. And your guess is as good as mine.
I think the puck
We got a nice shot of Morgan Riley on the bench, but I have no idea what that was for.
Well, the Leafs were fortunate. Loose to Ryan, and it was Morgan Riley, Joe. We talked about getting back on that odd man rush by the Florida Panthers. He just got his stick on the puck.
Well, we'll try and find out what went on with that stoppage of play when we come back. Well, I'd like to tell you why they blew that play down. I can't. Face-offs at center ice. Leafs have it shot in on goal. Stopped by Wall into the corner. Tanev, who has been hit more than any other player in this playoff. Backhands to center. Now we've got another whistle after it was airmailed into the neutral zone. And I don't know why this is.
It was right when Florida touched it. I don't know if there's.
Matthew Nyes doubled over a little bit on the bench after a hit.
Well,
I don't know why that call was made, but
2 in a row.
Yeah. Leafs win the face-off. Flipped into the zone and down into the corner it goes. Jones up against the boards. Puck came free up along the wall. Cut off by the Leafs. The centering pass went off the stick of McMahon. And the Panthers get it down to the Toronto zone. Brandon Carlo in the near corner. Banks it to his defense partner and up the boards Riley. Getting it to the line but not out. And the puck maintained here by Florida. Off a stick. Cleared by the Leafs to center ice. Waiting for teammates to get onside was Boquist. And Jesper Boquist sends it into the Toronto zone. Both teams are changing with 1:17 to go. Scoreless first period. Down in Florida. Pass off the boards to center. We got another whistle for I don't know why. This is very confusing.
They bring the 2-line pass back into the game.
I don't know. We're getting lots of shots of Matthew Nyes on the bench, but I have no idea.
This was just passed from the Leaf zone
into the neutral zone.
It wasn't offside.
And now it's, unless it was touched with a glove, I don't know. Well, all right, play back underway. Less than a minute to go in the period. Yarncrook got it to the line, a delayed offside this time, and it is whistled down. Yeah, the audio is way ahead of what we're seeing on the video, so we apologize. Sometimes some plays are going to be whistled down like that was before we even see it happening, and apparently that's been a couple of the occasions that we've had with whistles that we have no idea why they were implemented. But 54.9 seconds to go here in the period. Faceoff is outside the Florida blue line. Yarncrook, Domi, and Pacioretty. Leafs win the draw. Launch down into Florida territory. Mikkola goes back for it. The puck in the near corner. And it'll be played to the line, but not out. Leafs are able to keep it in. Domi is around back of the net, centering. That was out of the reach of Yarncrook, who was able to recover the puck in the center ice area, though. Leafs back in their own zone. Chipping it along the boards. It goes down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky out to play it with 26 seconds left to go here in the period. Both teams are changing. Mikkola with the puck back of the Florida goal. Plays it off the boards, and we get another whistle.
That went into the Leaf bench. 17.5 seconds to go. Well, As you're looking at this right now, Joe, what you're saying is it's a good road period to start this game.
Yep.
You've killed off the only 2 penalties of the period and have only given up 2 shots in the process. 7-2 the shots. The Leafs haven't had a ton in the
And a
Florida
couple of
zone.
good. Well, Nyes had the great scoring chance.
But not a ton.
No.
But you're still happy that you've created more than you've given up to this point.
Puck goes down into the Toronto zone off a face-off win. Tanev in the near corner. Gets it along the boards. Fighting there to get it out. The Leafs do. And Tkachuk getting it back, and it is shot back into the Toronto zone with 2 seconds left in the period. And the horn will go as the period ends. So no scoring in the first 20 minutes, and the Leafs have, if not, certainly not a spectacular first period, but a solid first period of a road game in a must-win situation.
Yeah, and I think the biggest fear coming in was you'd get steamrolled early on, the crowd would be into it, and you'd be back on your heels, and you thought with the 2 power plays that Florida got in the first period, here's the opportunity to do that. The Leafs weren't perfect in their own ends. There was times on the penalty kill they couldn't seem to get the puck past the blue line and out, but they were able to survive it. 2 shots on goal in a game like this in the first period, I think is huge for the Leafs. But eventually you got to hope next power play is coming to Toronto, and that might be the game changer.
Back for the second period, the Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers tied 0-0. Matthew Nyes, who was shaken up near the end of the first period, is on the ice and ready to take the face-off here to start the second period.
They had just 1 fewer shift than Matthews and Marner, but
Puck is dropped. Sorry, Jimmy. Yep.
So didn't miss too much time in the first.
Played down into the Toronto zone. They defend the goal to the right, and the Panthers to the left as it's chopped back out into the center ice area. Florida get it to the Toronto line. Broken up there by the Leafs. They try to punch it about 2 feet from the blue line, and Matthews gets it out. Shot right back in again by Ekblad. Round the boards, far side, Tanev to his defense partner. McCabe missed the pass. Tried to poke it up the boards there against Marchand, who gets into it now. Marchand loses it. McCabe back of the net for Tanev. And Tanev gives it back to McCabe on the near wing, and he'll look up ice, but now no movement yet. Then makes a pass, and it's intercepted as he threw it right onto the stick of the Florida player. And a long shot is blocked away easily by Wall. Back into the corner, back of the net now for Lundell. Lundell back to the blue line, and a shot coming that's blocked. The rebound, where's the puck? It's in front of the net. Wall's finally got it and covers up on it, but McCabe with an easy outlet, and then just put it right on the tape of the Florida player, who was really not causing any problems.
No, and I mean, took a lot of time to do it as well. Looked up ice and then right on the tape, and back in it goes the other way. Boy, I don't know if this last one gets to Wall. I think that hits the mass of players in front of him and drops right at his knee pads.
Face off in the Toronto zone to the right of the Leaf net. Controlled and shot by Florida, but blocked before it reached the goal. Back of the net, Morgan Riley got it around the wall, but cut off there by Ekblad, who shot it wide of the goal. Nylander won't get to it as another shot from the point is swallowed up by Wall. And the Panthers have gotten a couple of shots on goal here early in the period after having just 2 in the first 20 minutes.
Florida's starting to reestablish that forecheck that has given the Leaf fits in the last couple of games. Like we said, you look at the first period and you say exactly what you wanted. You know, low event. You didn't give up much. Crowd isn't in it yet. But boy, do you need the first one.
Face off to the right of Wall. Leafs fourth line out there, but Lawton being waved out of the face-off circle. And so it'll be Yarncrook who will take the draw now for Toronto. And the draw won cleanly by Florida. Back to the point, and a shot coming that fucks right out in front of the net. Gobbled up there by Lawton, and he carries to center. Here's the Oakville native in on the left wing for Lorenz. Back along the boards for Lawton. Played around back of the net into the far corner. Tkachuk playing it back of the net. Leafs unable to get there, and now here is Schmidt carrying it out at center with a pass on the right wing, and Marchand shoots it down into the Toronto zone. The puck around the boards to the near wing. Pushed up on the wing, but not out. Comes back to the blue line. Kept in there by Florida. Schmidt, long shot, deflects wide of the Leaf goal. Where's the puck? Gone up into the screen, apparently. And so face-off coming again in the Toronto zone, but the Panthers have started a second period with a lot more veracity on the forecheck, keeping the Leafs hammed in their own end.
And at the other end, the Leafs on the forecheck, Joe, just don't seem to have numbers, right? They'll have one guy in, but Florida will have two guys open to make the one play to get it out.
And they're certainly not as aggressive as far as the body contact is concerned. As it's cleared down into the Florida zone. Puck around the boards to the near side. Riley had pinched but couldn't keep it in. Now shot back down into the zone. It goes in around back of the net. McMahon got a piece of his man. The puck goes free. Domi trying to get it back to the point and has. Kept in now off Domi's stick around back of the net. Riley is pinching down against Greer. That keeps the puck in back of the goal line for the Panthers, and now they're going to send an alley-oop through center that bounces in over the line onto the stick. Verhaeghe trying to get it back to the point. A long shot by Nosek went wide of the net, and McMahon will just play it out at center but doesn't get it very deep. Shot right back in again by Florida. Along the boards, Brandon Carlo got away from one forechecker, trying to play it out, hit the referee right in the seat of the pants. And the Leafs get it out and down on a bounce down into Florida territory to allow a change. Nyes up for checking for Toronto, and the Panthers have it back of their goal. A pass into the slot area, got away from Marner. Up on the right wing it comes. Ekblad in with a long shot, blockered away, but a big rebound off Wall. Controlled by Florida at the point. Another shot coming, blocked. Nyes trying to play it back, was knocked down on the play, and the Maple Leafs get it out and got it ahead, and now Matthews in across the line to Marner. Marner trying to send it back, had it blocked, but it goes around back of the net. Nyes takes his man down to get it back into the corner, but Matthews couldn't get it away from Barkov. It's cleared to the line, knocked back by Benoit, and it'll force Forsling back into his own zone to play it to the line and out into the center ice area. Leafs have it again there. Played right back in again by Benoit. Out of the net, Bobrovsky scooping it back for Ekblad. Ekblad gets it ahead, and it's backhanded by Barkov into the center ice area. Now the Panthers in with a long shot taken there by defenseman Gustav Forsling that is swallowed up by Joseph Wall to stop play, and a face-off is going to come in the Toronto zone.
It's really turned into a chess match, hasn't it? Very reminiscent of what we saw if anybody watched the Carolina-Washington series. And by the way, we talked about this, and I know it's been posted, but Alexander Ovechkin been centering the league with the Washington Capitals in 2005, 2006. Has only won multiple playoff series in a year once. And that was when they won the Stanley Cup.
Bouncing puck down in the Toronto zone. A drop pass for Marchand. His shot was blocked. The Leafs are able to dig it free, and Holmberg trying to drag it out at center, goes to the far side. A tip there by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but he got bowled over, and it's shot back down into the Toronto zone. 15:44 to go in the second period. We are still scoreless as it goes back of the net. Grabbed off by Verhaeghe, played along the boards. The Leafs get there with Nylander. Nylander trying to free it up. Has it knocked up on the wing, but Tavares couldn't get it. Now a sharp angle shot is sent wide of the Leaf goal. Kept in by Jones. Off of Tkachuk. Tkachuk taken to the boards by Benoit. Gets it back to the point to Jones. In traffic, a shot. That goes wide. It comes to the near side. And now Nylander trying to get it out. Didn't get it past the blue line. Kept alive by Florida again. Along the boards in the near corner with Tavares chasing there after Sam Bennett. Bennett gets it back to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe's pass gets by everybody and goes all the way down into Florida territory. Sometimes just winning a foot is better than winning a 200-foot battle. Down into the corner, it goes into the Toronto zone again. Back to Ekblad, a shot blockered away by Wall. Cleared into the corner. Centering pass comes back. Ekblad with it again, a shot blocked. It broke a stick. That is the stick of Pacioretty, but he makes a good play to get a skate in the way, and it's deflected down into the Florida zone. McMahon unable to get any forechecking going, and here come the Panthers again. They're coming in waves. Shot deflects wide of the Toronto goal. Someone's lost a stick in that corner, and now the Leafs are shorthanded again as it is Lawton without a stick. Played by Brandon Carlo. He'll get it up on the wing, but not out. Carlo gets it again to play it back of the net for Morgan Riley. He'll have to hurry and get it to the line. And a collision there, but the Leafs don't get it out. Played into the far corner again. Back of the net for Greer. Greer ties his man up. Lawton gets it free. Played it off the glass into the crowd. And out of play, but a whistle and a much-needed change of players as the Leafs, 2 players breaking their sticks and causing them to be shorthanded in the defensive zone. Still no score in this hockey game. Game 6, the Leafs do or die. You're listening. If nothing else, they're certainly zooming in on the injury to Matthew Nyes.
Yep.
He's getting lots of camera time. That'll...
Yep. So Florida doesn't know. Just check the game tape.
That's right.
To game 7.
If anybody's watching this feed, they're certainly knowing of it. So the Leafs win the face-off down in the Toronto zone. McCabe sweeping it along the boards. Got to the line. McMahon battling for it. Cleared back into the zone.
McMahon out with Marner and Matthews now.
All right. McMahon on the near boards. Trying to fight for possession. Got it back to Tanev. Tanev will bank it off the boards for Marner. He couldn't tip it ahead, and the Panthers are bringing it right back in over the line. Sam Reinhart into the slot, and a shot swallowed up by Wall and held for a face-off in the Toronto zone.
Leafs do not have a shot on goal in the first 6 minutes and 36 seconds here of the second period. That's going to be the 5th one. Or pardon me, 6th one for the Florida Panthers.
Well, it's a gorgeous day in Toronto. Lots of people watching the game out in the backyards. My son Liam is at his baseball buddy Ryan Merriman's enjoying it. A great spot, eh? Just get the backyard filled up with, turn it into a pool hut. And off you go. Pass to the side of the Toronto goal. Chipped along the wall by Lawton. Panthers keeping it in. They've dominated the period, and a shot blocked there with the puck in the skates of the Maple Leafs. Flipped to the line and out off the stick there of Lorenz. Yarncrook can't get to it. Lorenz has it knocked away. Played to the line and in for Lawton. Lawton winds and shoots, and it's a blockered away there by Bobrovsky. Centering pass didn't reach Yarncrook. And now here the Panthers breaking out with 3 Leafs trapped. 3-on-2 rush. In across the line for Hagee. Trying to get it in front of the net was Kulikov, but it had it blocked. It goes back of the goal, though, on a centering pass. Goes off a stick high back of the goal. Oliver Ekman-Larsson getting it ahead. And it's played out into the center ice area by Toronto. Forsling going back after it. Verhaeghe gets it for Marchment, or for Marchand. Marchand gets it down into the Toronto end. Played around the boards by the Leafs, and now Morgan Riley trying to start out with it. He had it blocked. Centering pass off on the left wing. Good play by Benoit. He stepped into Brad Marchand and flattened him. Puck on the near boards, played by Marchand back into the Toronto zone. Riley taken to the wall. So is Holmberg. Holmberg trying to get the puck free. It goes off a skate. Leafs unable to come up with it as it comes around into the near corner. And it has been all Florida here in the first 9 minutes of this second period. Tavares late getting to it. Point shot coming. Good pad save. Nylander can't clear. And it's cleared right back in along the boards. Then by Ekblad. Riley can't come out with it. Now he gets another opportunity. Just slides it around the boards, but no one there. Here are the Panthers again buzzing around that net. Nylander finally gets it and then turned and tried to make a little flip pass out and never got it elevated. Shot taken there. Comes to the side of the goal. It's cleared. Nylander desperately getting it out now to center ice. Well, I don't know if the timeout is that valuable that you can't use it at some point here. For Craig Berube's team. Leafs get it down and over the line, though. Nylander down low, got it in front of the net. Tavares couldn't get his stick on it. Panthers coming back. Cross the line is Reinhart. Dropping it back now. Here's a chance for Boquist. That was off the blocker wide. Comes back to the blue line and out at center ice. Leafs with it in their own zone.
I get the feeling this is starting to open up.
Played in over the line. Nyes back into the fray, but on the left wing here with Domi. A hit has the puck go the length of the ice. And again, icing call coming here against the Florida Panthers.
Matthew Nyes clearly laboring here in the second period for the Leafs, but Simon Benoit, as Brad Marchand tries to do a little toe drag through the left wing circle, and Simon Benoit just stands up and drops him.
So it is a 0-0 tie still in the second period. 10:32 to play in the frame. Leafs scrum the draw, but don't come up with it. And Matthews may have taken a high stick. He's going to the bench. Played up on the wing by the Panthers to the line and in. And on the left wing it goes. A wrist shot is smothered there by Wall, and he's going to cover up on it. And Austin Matthews.
Boy, and this.
No, it's more his eye.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
wow.
is right off the face
Right off the face-off. Alexander Barkov comes up with that stick and clips Matthews underneath, and Matthews is heading down the walkway.
How do you miss that?
You mean like the Stolars incident?
Yeah. Boy, Matthews and Matthew Nyes both laboring now. We don't know if Austin Matthews is going to return.
Face off to the right. And the face-off wasn't done correctly. Maybe the linesman could pay attention a little bit to how did you miss that?
Well, the linesman's
it's
trying,
in the face-off circle. Yeah. It's right there.
Linesman's trying to get out of the way.
No, the linesman. Yeah. But the official. Leafs are able to flip it out at center. Marner got it across the line, but McMahon couldn't track it down. Domi up between McMahon and Marner now. Played by the Leafs back into the offensive zone. Domi down the boards. Marner looking for a loose puck. It comes free, but it is grabbed off by Florida and brought to center ice. Dumped into the zone by Schmidt. Tkachuk trying to get a hit in there on the boards. It comes out in front. Tkachuk couldn't get to it. Domi has time and space, and he'll clear it up on the right wing. That goes off. Oliver Ekman-Larsson in on goal. Scooped aside by Bobrovsky. Long lead pass gets to Tkachuk across the line. I thought I heard a whistle. Oh, now we don't know what this whistle is for. Well, we've got a shot of the Leaf bench.
He's getting smaller. We'll try to keep an eye on whether Austin Matthews.
Bench minor. Too many men on the ice.
Oh, too many men on the ice. All right.
And is it Florida?
Well, they're looking at the tablet a little more than the Leafs are.
We're watching the Leafs are the ones with the line change. 2, 4, 7. Oh, yeah, Florida.
Yeah, they got 6 on there. And two guys jumped. So the Maple Leafs are going to get their first power play opportunity of the game. It may be the most important power play they've had this season. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio. Austin Matthews is back on the ice for this power play. Marner to the far side. Matthews with a shot. That's blocked. There's a rebound in front of the goal. They're banging away at it. The puck is still free. Jammed at and now centered by Tavares. Tavares gets it back again into the corner. Matthews comes away with it. Matthews back to the point. Marner to Willie. Nylander on the near half boards. Gets it back to Marner. One touch over for Matthews. Matthews top of the circle in front for Tavares. Backhand doesn't work. Cleared out and down the ice. Wall will play it ahead. Marner is back there to recover. He gets it ahead, but Tavares is offside. I don't know what kept Tavares from getting out of the zone.
1:24 gone. The Leafs finally get a shot here in the period. It comes with about 8 minutes, just under 9 minutes to go here in the second period. That was a point shot by Austin Matthews, but Sergei Bobrovsky bobbling the rebound. And the Leafs just couldn't find a handle on it to jam it in.
Matthews and Matthew Nyes are back on this power play. Down in the Toronto zone, and
the pass came from inside their own blue line.
I guess, yeah. I guess that's the reason for the offside. And the penalty of it is coming all the way back into the Toronto end. Now the Leafs breaking it out. Nylander up on the left wing. Nyes deflects it down into the zone and trying to get in there on the forecheck. Taking it against the boards is Mikkola. That draws Tavares into it as well as it comes around to the far side. John's not going to get there to keep it in, and it's out into the center ice area where the Panthers are going to just play it down into the Toronto zone. Wall leaving it back of the net for Mitch Marner. 40 seconds to go in the power play. Matthews drops it back to him. Marner drops it back in turn to Matthews. Matthews hits the line with a pass in for Pacioretty. Back for Matthews. Comes to the side of the goal, a backhand. And a penalty coming here to Toronto.
Boy, it's going
to catch this high stick on Ekblad, I guess. Matthews, who got high stick earlier in the face-off circle, ends up clipping Ekblad, and a penalty coming to Toronto.
And Matthews just giving it to the official.
Caught this one, didn't catch the other one.
Boy, and this is a sell job by Aaron Ekblad. I don't know if any, there's contact made. I mean, it's a high sticking penalty, but I guess Matthews should have rolled around or snapped the head back a little more to try to draw it. So a little bit of 4-on-4 action before the Florida Panthers go to their third power play of the night.
So the penalty kill is brought to you by our Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid. Proudly built here in Ontario. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer today. Face off in the Toronto zone as a result of the penalty to Matthews. 4-on-4 hockey here for 24 seconds. Riley gets it up on the right side into the slot area for the Leafs, and a pass in. Nylander deflecting that, and Bobrovsky was down and out, but they couldn't get another shot away. Willie is able to clear it along the board. He's tripped, and no call there from the official who just happened to be watching it. Ekblad getting it out, and now the power play will come into effect for Florida. 1:31. No score. Reinhart dropping it back. Jones comes through neutral ice. Played in on the right side. Jones goes after it himself. Tanev got it back of the goal. Grabbed by the Leafs on the far corner by Yarncrook. Yarncrook against the boards. Can't get it up on the wall far enough. Kept in by Jones at the right point. Onto the left wing side. Off a stick. Gobbled up by the Maple Leafs. Yarncrook carries out. Looks for a man as he gets across the line. Tried to shoot it in as Marner was into the attack as well, but that didn't work. Now Marner back checking against Reinhart as it comes in over the line to Tkachuk. Tkachuk dropping it back to Jones down the slot. Left wing side and a shot. That was blocked. It comes to the far wing, and it'll be Lorenz getting it out. And he gets interfered with after dumping the puck in as it goes down into the Florida zone. Barkov organizing in his own zone along with Schmidt. Nate Schmidt gets it up on the wing, intercepted and hammered off the boards by Brandon Carlo, and the Leafs will ice the puck with 20 seconds to go. Third power play of the game for Florida. The Leafs have had one. Here's Tkachuk in across the line. He couldn't penetrate. Now Schmidt will drill it in. Wall slows it up enough for Tanev to get it along the boards for Lawton, and Lawton will send it the rest of the way down the ice to kill off the remaining seconds. So the Leafs penalty kill has been excellent. 3 for 3, still a scoreless tie here in the second period with 5:52 to go in the period, and a shot blocked by Wall on the short side. Leafs get it free on the near wing for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who plays ahead. Along the boards, it is Pontus Holmberg for Tavares. Tavares with a wrist shot that was deflected wide. Tried to play it in front of the net. That didn't work. Panthers go around back of their own goal. Get it up on the wing for Mikkola. Mikkola bank pass to the Leaf blue line, broken up by Morgan Riley. Riley again against the boards. Can't get it out. Barkov is into the corner. Barkov centers. Weak shot taken by Reinhart was deflected wide. And Tavares has it back of the net for his defenseman, Jake McCabe. Leafs are changing. Both teams are taking an opportunity to get an exchange of players going. McCabe back of the net. Strides out now on the left wing. Got it ahead, deflected in by Bobby McMahon. Pacioretty goes after it. Knocked along the boards. It'll come out at center ice for Tkachuk. Tkachuk's going to send it down into the Toronto zone. And Benoit has to hustle back and go back of the net and play it up on the wing. And out come the Leafs with Bobby McMahon. With speed down the right wing. He's got Domi with him. Domi trying to get a backhand away, and it rolled off his stick. Bennett airs it down into the Toronto zone, but quickly cleared right back. Domi after it, but can't come up with it. Cleared to center ice by the Panthers. And Greer gets it the rest of the way into the Toronto end. Shots are 14-9 in favor of Florida. So 7-3. Oh, no longer than that, right? 12.
12-3 now.
Leafs play it down into the Florida end. Schmidt missed a hit from Matthews. Matthews curls out of the corner with the puck, sends it to the net, hit the side of the goal. Nyes after it in the near boards. Matthews down the wall, has the puck go high into the air. Riley keeping it in to Marner. Marner with a little head fake. Now sends it to the net and it went off a stick and went wide. Nyes chops it in along the boards and Riley gets it back at the net. Marner centering in front. Pass was too high to be knocked out of the air there by Matthews. Back to the point. Leafs with some pressure here, though. Riley off on the wing as one of the Florida Panthers has lost a stick. Penalty coming here. And it has to be going against Florida, I think. Although we're not getting any indication of it. Is it Ekblad?
Well, they've just shown Ekblad on the screen. 3:30 to go. Yeah, yep. Ekblad is going to go.
2 minutes. Interference.
Interference is going to be the call.
Being done without the stick.
Well,
at any rate.
Might have been Willie Nylander crashing the net, looking for the pass.
Oh, no, maybe in front of the net. Marner got knocked down. At any rate, Leafs going to the power play for a second time in the period. No score. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ekblad in the penalty box. Leafs on the power play. Marner feathers it off on the far side. Got it back, then got a shot away. There was a big, juicy rebound taken to safety by the Panthers and cleared ahead. And now here's Barkov bringing it in over the Leaf blue line. Barkov taken to the boards and Nylander got it up on the wing for Tavares. Tavares dropping it back and Marner starts out of his own zone.
Matthew Nyes not on the power play, Joe. Max Pacioretty is out instead.
All right. Brought on by Nylander to the line and in. Works to the right wing boards for Tavares. Tavares ran into a traffic jam. The puck comes free. Grabbed off by Reinhart and he sends it out and down the ice. Marner will go back to retrieve the puck with 1:12 to go in this power play. 2:40 to go in the period, and there is no score. A pass up on the left wing. Domi deflects it in over the line. In goes Bobby McMahon after it. Got it around back of the net. Cleared around the boards, though. No one over there. And it's down into the Toronto zone. 52 seconds left in the power play. Oliver Ekman-Larsson comes out. Left wing feed for Domi. Deflects it into the Florida zone. Hustling in there after it was Yarncrook. Back into the corner for Domi. Centering pass was blocked. Domi gets it back, looking to find the point, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson is able to help him out, keeping it in to Riley. Riley down into the corner. Centering pass for Bobby McMahon, and it bounced over his stick. Oliver Ekman-Larsson will keep it in. Domi in the far corner, back along the boards for Riley. Riley can't do much with it. It's shot out and down the ice again by Florida.
Well, Florida just so aggressive on the penalty kill, and Leafs unable to make the quick pass to find the open man.
This will be 0 for 9 on the power play if they don't score in the next 5 seconds. Against the Panthers at the point, kept in, back at even strength are Florida with 1:27 to go in the period. Into the far corner is Holmberg back to the point, and it's offside. It was handled there by Tanev, but he kind of mishandled it, and by the time he had it under control, it was outside the blue line and brought in offside.
Well, the Leafs have a rather substantial advantage, 7-2 in shots in the opening period, but it's been 12-5 Florida here in the second. And Mitch Marner did a pretty good job one-on-one with Sasha Barkov coming in on him. Well, the Leafs for killing the penalty, but you have to worry about the health of Matthew Nyes, don't you, that he wasn't on the #1 power play unit for the Leafs.
Face off in the Florida zone. And Florida goaltender has been throwing shutouts at the Maple Leafs here throughout. Robertson scoring at 18:54 to end the shutout streak for Bobrovsky, but he's got a new one going here, but he's being matched shot for shot by Joseph Woll with 1:06 to go in the second period. Flipped in then by the Leafs. A bouncing puck in on Bobrovsky. Back of the net. Pontus Holmberg gets it out in front of the net, and it was nowhere near Lorenz, who ends up having the stick knocked out of his hands. Leafs have a short rush going in now for the Panthers. It comes back into the slot. Nyes unable to reach it, and it is cleared back into the Toronto zone. Riley unable to get to it. Back of the net. Panthers trying to send it back, and they do to Jones. Right point. Jones into the half boards, and a shot taken there by Verhaeghe was blocked. Kept alive by Florida. Back of the net for Tkachuk. Tkachuk can't get it out in front. When he does, it's sent wide of the net by Verhaeghe. 22 seconds in the period. Nyes out there, and then an errant pass by Florida sends the puck out at center. They've got to wait for teammates to get onside as it's cleared in with 10 seconds left in the period. Morgan Riley starting out of his own end. Slowly to center. He's going to try and get it to the red line to get it in. It's blocked, and the horn ends the period with no score on the board.
How far do we have to go back to remember a scoreless game into the third period in a playoff game for the Leafs? They're still there. Still maybe looking for that power play hero. Joseph Wall has been solid, Joe, but he hasn't had to be spectacular. The Leafs, the one thing you like, even though there's been some hiccups in their own zone, they've showed great composure, right? Chasing pucks down. The defensive coverage has been great, but they need to create a lot more at the other end of the ice than Sergei Bobrovsky.
Matthew Nyes playing, but obviously in some discomfort. And the Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers are scoreless after 40 minutes of play. The Leafs must win to force a Game 7 on Sunday night at Scotiabank Arena. Set for the third period. And the second period was brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today. Biggest period of the year. The Leafs have got to win this game to force Game 7. It is scoreless after 40 minutes of play. And goaltender Bobrovsky has gone 167 minutes and 58 seconds, giving up just one goal to a player who is not in the lineup tonight in Nick Robertson. They're at center ice, and the puck is dropped, and we're underway as Marner carries to the line, had to go off a shin pad, and the Panthers have it again, and they're launching it high down into the Toronto zone. McCabe playing it up on the left wing. That deflects ahead to Matthews. Right wing side for Tanev. Tanev plays it in over the line. Took a hit there from Nico Mikkola. And the Panthers play it off the boards. Cut off by Matthews, who is tripped right in front of the official, and he missed that. The high stick, the trip, lots of things going by the board here tonight. Played around back of the net. Tanev reverses it again for McCabe. McCabe will get it up on the wing, and it is Willie Nylander turning. His pass ahead, pushed ahead by Pontus Holmberg. Nylander gets it in a little further and down back of the net. Tavares chasing but won't catch up to it. Kept in by Holmberg. He plays it around back of the goal. Panthers are there. Ekblad steps out and gets it up on the right wing with speed. Played in over the line then by Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe reverses the puck into the corner. Marchand sends it to the net off a skate. Comes back to the point. Panthers with another shot. Blockered away. Wall seemed to stumble there, but is okay, I believe. Leafs bring it out now with Tavares playing it off the boards and into the Florida zone. He won't get there in time to create any kind of forecheck. Both teams are changing on the go. Panthers to the right and the Leafs to the left. Cleared by Bennett down into the Toronto end. Along the boards, Oliver Ekman-Larsson to the far side. Panthers send it back behind the net for Tkachuk. Taken out of the play by Benoit. Puck along the boards for Bennett. Bennett gets it in deeper around back of the net. Tkachuk trying to come out with it, drops it off. Verhaeghe gets it back to the point. Shot coming in traffic. That's off the mark wide. Leafs get it up on the wing, and it's going to be bunted out at center ice and then played off a stick in over the line. McMahon has it knocked off his stick, and the Panthers have it again. Up on the left wing is Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe trying to drive, goes into the corner. Ridden off the play nicely there by Calle Yarncrook, but the Leaf defenseman gets tackled, and then it's played back down into the far corner. Panthers after it again. Mikkola got it into the zone, but the Leafs are able to get it out. Down on the wing and a pass into the slot area, and a shot by Tanev went wide of the goal. It was a great rush. It just was in the wrong set of hands. Centering pass comes into the slot. Cleared off the glass and down the ice by Florida.
Boy, Chris Tanev gets some room. Scott Lawton with a great pass over the line, pulls up, delays, and Chris Tanev was able to skate to open ice in the high slot and take it to the net, trying to go far side of Bobrovsky. A nice little play by Scotty Lawton. And yeah, this missed by about 4 feet.
Did Bobrovsky get the blocker on it?
No,
Maybe not.
I think he missed it.
Given Chris Tanev the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I do remember him sniping one past Vasilevsky in Florida coming off that point.
Draw one by the Leafs, and a point shot doesn't make it through. Marner hands it off on the wing. One of the Panthers has lost the stick. It goes down into the corner. Marner unable to get to it. Nyes back to the blue line. Sped it in then by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Panthers get it quickly back out again, and here's Bennett working to the line and in over the line. Bennett plays it off the boards and down into the near corner. Leafs are first there with Morgan Riley. Riley plays it up on the wing, but Marner couldn't get it out for him. Kept in by the Panthers. Boquist into the corner. Cut off there by Carlo and brought by Matthews to center, but Matthew Nyes couldn't carry it into the zone for him. Panthers break it back. Barkov up on the wing. Forsling gets it the rest of the way into the zone. Out of the net wall. Leafs Tavares back of the goal. Round on the far side. Pontus Holmberg got it to the line, but out of midair it was swatted to the Leaf net. And now the Leafs break it out with Tavares. Tavares up on the left wing. Pontus Holmberg driving around, got a shot away that was blockered into the corner nicely there by the goaltender as it comes back to the point. Tanev on the right point. Goes to the defenseman. Comes to Nylander. Nylander working down on the far half wall. Works into the corner. Still with it. Back of the net. Stops up there. Still with it. Goes around back of the goal. Couldn't get it in front. Still has it as he comes back to the point to Tanev. Tanev's wrist shot is off the mark wide. Tavares after the puck and getting it around back of the net. Holmberg can't get to it as he was interfered with. And now it is brought to center ice by the Panthers and cleared to the Toronto blue line. Good shift, though, by the Maple Leafs. Brought back now by Carlo. Carlo backhands high into the far corner. Domi after it there, and missing his man was Bobby McMahon. Puck comes back out at center ice for Anton Lundell, and he'll get it down in on goal, and Wall clears into the corner. Leafs play it up the boards and around to the far side. McMahon carries back to send it back into an empty corner that Carlo will reach. The long reach of his stick, able to get it out, and off a stick down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky finds Brad Marchand. He'll drop it back for Schmidt, and Nate Schmidt now gets organized as the teams are changing. We are just at the 5-minute mark of the third period. No score. Bennett in on the left wing. Bennett trying to drop it back. The puck into the corner, knocked by Verhaeghe to the far wing. Shot taken from an angle, goes wide. Leafs are able to come out with it, and it is launched high to center ice. Trying to get to it was Pontus Holmberg, was hauled down. Oh, my! Here the Panthers, though, counterattacking it over the line with a shot, and that was blocked. How was that not a penalty? Back around, back of the net it goes. Panthers with it again. Playing it in around back of the net, cut off there by Tanev. Tanev playing it up on the wing, and the Leafs get it out to the line and on the near wing, but don't get it out of the zone. Shot is stopped by Wall. Centering effort around to the far side. Panthers with it again. Looking to try and work in front with a shot, and that went wide. Rebound Cairns to the near point, but is kept in. Leafs hemmed in their own zone again. Yarncrook couldn't come up with it. Now he does, and just gets it out into the Florida end of the rink.
I don't know how that's not called. I mean, it's a breakaway. If not, for being hauled down.
Forsling starts back. Jean Hebert and Graham Rank, the referees. A shot scores! Holy mackerel, how did that happen? Off the rush. Matthews comes in, and now the Leafs have grabbed the lead.
A nothing play that Mitch Marner ends up with a puck on his stick right in front of the Florida bench and throws it to Matthews. Boy, this is just an inadvertent clearing attempt, and then Austin Matthews darts into the zone on the pass from Marner, and a little toe drag snap goes through the 5-hole of Sergei Bobrovsky. And with 13:40 to go in the third period, the Leafs have opened the scoring.
Get a big goal. Awful nice to be able to call it, and I'm staring at something else. Sweet Marion Joseph. The Leafs with a 1-0 lead on a goal from Austin Matthews. Mitch Marner setting it up. Third of the playoffs for Matthews. And the Leafs have the opening goal of the game. It comes at 6:20 of the period. Puck down in the Toronto zone. Back of the net trying to work it out is Sam Reinhart. He was bowled over. Puck goes back to the point, though. Panthers with a wrist shot in traffic, blocked wide. Good play made there by the Leafs on the boards. Carlo able to lift the stick of the Panthers and get it out into neutral ice. Pontus Holmberg unable to move with it. Panthers back in their own zone, and they'll organize back there with 12:55 to go in the third period. The Leafs have opened the scoring on a goal by Austin Matthews. Shot in wide of the net. Wall is out of the cage to pound it around on the boards, and it'll be tipped to the line and out. Nylander can't get to it. Panthers back at their own blue line with Schmidt. Getting it in on the left wing and in over the line with Lundell. A shot that deflected wide of the Leaf goal, and now it's brought by Benoit and carried to center ice with a couple of nifty moves. Gets it in on the right side for Tavares. Tavares shooting. Blocker save made by Bobrovsky. Another shot is blocked, and it's carrying all the way down into the Toronto end.
Well, what a rush by Simon Benoit, setting up John Tavares for a strike.
Down into the Florida zone it goes. Bennett unable to come up with it. Chopped out at center ice by Florida. Recovered by Toronto. McCabe off the boards and chipped off the wall to center, and the Leafs are going to get it the rest of the way into the zone. Bobby McMahon going in there after it with a hit. It comes free to Domi! Crashing into the net, Bobrovsky. Oh, his helmet was knocked off. He may have to go to the quiet room. What do you think?
Well, Max Domi went slamming into him. I don't know if there was a penalty going to be called on that play. But Domi got tripped trying to take it to the net, went into Bobrovsky, and Domi is laboring getting up. And I wouldn't imagine if there was no penalty on the breakaway where Leaf was hauled down. I doubt we're going to get one here. But Max Domi found a seam, took it to the net, and was hauled down. I mean, looked like a bit of a trip, didn't it?
Yeah. Then he got drilled, and then Bobrovsky got drilled.
Yeah, it was Ekblad that drilled Domi into Bobrovsky.
The Leafs are on the board. Matthews from Marner at 6:20. And the Maple Leafs have a 1-0 lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio. Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner combining on a turnover at the Florida blue line to open the scoring in this game 6. 1-0 Leafs. And a huge collision, and Bobrovsky seems to be all right. Panthers around back of the goal, playing it off the boards out at center. Shot right back in again by Toronto. Cleared up on the wing by Jones. This has gone by everyone, but it's not icing. Wall is out of the cage to get it to his defenseman, and out at center it's played. And Nyes gets to Matthews, who chips it into the zone. Nyes trying to get in on the forecheck against Jones. Along the boards, Matthews broke it up. Cleared out at center, though, and here the Panthers in over the line. Barkov going hard to the net, and he couldn't get there as the stick.
Oh.
You're kidding.
Now we got a penalty the other way. Boy, with what they've let go to this point here in the third period, and they're going to call a hook on Brandon Carlo.
Toronto penalty number 25, 2 minutes hooking.
Well, so much for putting the whistles away.
No. Fourth power play opportunity for the Florida Panthers. And the penalty kill brought to you by Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid. Proudly built here in Ontario. Visit your Ontario Honda dealers today.
When Brandon Carlo's arguing, he had one hand on the stick, and Barkov did a pretty good job once he felt it, clamping onto it. But when you let the other one go on the partial breakaway.
Yep. Draw to the right in the Toronto zone, won by the Maple Leafs. Against the boards, Tanev and McCabe get it to Marner, and Marner rims it around the boards, and down the ice it'll go. Seth Jones going back to it. Jones dropping it off. Barkov gets to center and to the line and in now for Tkachuk. Tkachuk has the puck up against the board, stolen, and it is Yarncrook who sends it the rest of the way down the ice. Leaf fan applauding the officials there at the side of the rink. Brought on now by Florida. Played up on the right wing side and into the corner. Stolen back by Toronto. Down the ice it goes again. So far, so good with 1:14 to go in the power play for Florida. Half of the third period almost in the books. Shot in by Florida. Marchand goes into the corner after it. Can't come up with it. Puck goes in back of the Toronto goal. Steered back to the blue line. Schmidt into the slot area. Bennett lost it. Leafs get it ahead. And Yarncrook will play it off the far boards. And down the ice it goes again. 44 seconds left now in the power play for Florida. Schmidt trying to work out on the left wing. Goes across ice and then drops it back, and Bennett will carry in over the line. Chopped off his stick. Stolen back by the Leafs. Out and down the ice again. Great job being done here by the Leaf penalty killers as they have faced the power play 4 times. 24 seconds left in the fourth one now. Shot into the Toronto zone by Lundell. Back of the net. It comes out and down the ice again. That time the Panthers helped out, trying to get it back to the point. 10 seconds left in this power play. Forsling trying to get it in over the line, and now they'll stretch it out, and this power play is going to expire before they get to center ice. Out of the box comes Carlo. Shot into the Toronto end. Down the boards to the far side. Marner comes away with it. Skates around back of the net. Flips it up on the wing, and it'll get to the line, but not out. Marner pays a price by taking a hit there from Nosek, but it is on the boards and out at center ice. Leafs trying to get to it. Tripped up there was a Leaf player, but no call. Mikkola is back in his own zone.
Too much to ask for an even up call now.
No, the whistles will be put away now, Jimmy. It's way too important. Call a penalty, I would suggest. Back in over the line now for Florida. Working along the boards, a long shot goes wide of the Leaf goal. Tanev has to get back to it to get it to Jake McCabe. McCabe sends it back to Tanev, and Tanev gets it airmailed high to center ice. Bounced over Willie Nylander's stick. Cleared back into the center ice area, and the Panthers are right back in over the line. Except the Leafs have taken it away from them once again. Played off the boards to center. Nylander deflects it down into the Florida end. 8 minutes and 7 seconds to go, third period. 1-0 Toronto. Puck out at center ice. Blocked by the Leafs, but then carried on by Florida in over the line. Bennett to the front of the net, a shot. Big save by Joey Woll. Maybe his first big save of the game. The Leafs have been that good defensively. Here's Domi just getting it down into Florida territory. Pacioretty back of the net, tried to get it in front. Domi had it knocked away, and it's played to center ice. Leafs defense had to evacuate there to make sure it didn't result in an odd man rush, and now it is an offside at the Toronto blue line.
You're right, though. The Leafs, this is by far, as we get to this point, 7:34 to go here in the third period, their best defensive performance of the postseason.
1-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. 7.5 hard miles to go. The Leafs with a 1-0 lead. On a goal from Austin Matthews, set up by Marner. Leafs with the puck in their own zone, get it ahead, and Nylander chips it down into the offensive end. Holmberg up against the end boards, can't come up with it. Panthers are able to break out. They'll get to center, but stolen. Here's Tavares working down the right wing boards, trying to drag it to the front, and his backhand is caught by Bobrovsky, but a good effort there from Johnny Toronto to drive the net.
Now, he did have the option of dropping it back to Nylander, but I think with a one-goal lead, Joe, you don't want to be trying to throw the puck backwards, have it picked off, and go the other way. So I think it was the right move by John Tavares. Bulldoze the net. Not much room there as Bobrovsky took away the short side.
7:14 to play in the third period. Face off to the left of Bobrovsky. Line's been taking his time and now discussing the point of interest to the combatants. Checking to make sure everybody's skates are over the line. And finally, the puck is dropped and the Leafs win it. To the point, Carlo's shot went off a leg and went wide. Nye's unable to reach it. And the Panthers are going to get it airmailed high to center ice. Grabbed off by Brandon Carlo and fed right back out into the center ice area for Nyes. Nyes to the near side for Morgan Riley. He reaches the red line and shoots it in. Down the boards, Matthews to Nyes. Left wing side, trying to get it back now is Matthews. Matthews with Lorenz in there now on a change of players. Centering pass was intercepted, and out come the Panthers to the red line and get it in now on the right side. Marchand getting it back again, trying to drive the net, knocked away. Matthews has it in the corner, got it airmailed, but not enough to get it out. But a glove pass has been whistled down by the official. And Luosterainen getting an earful from one of the linesmen, who then gets some assistance from the other linesman to give him a little fat on the fanny and send him off to his bench. After the face-off will be brought outside the blue line.
I think Luosterainen is trying to say that he touched it after he gloved it down before Marchand picked it up.
6:32 left in the third period. 1-0 Toronto. Played off the boards to center and high stick making contact with it. That has whistled it down. So a face-off coming in the center ice area outside the Florida blue line. Game 7, if it is in fact to be, will be Sunday night. I don't know as they have put a start time, so we're assuming 7 o'clock. 7:30. All right. Armin Zagarian says 7:30. Then it must be 7:30. Austin Mackey running the operation here for us as well. Puck down in the Florida zone. Trying to get to it there was Yarncrook. Back and behind the net. Lawton chases after it. Panthers get it out at center and on the left wing for Tkachuk. Tkachuk in trying to get around the defense. Had it knocked down. Leafs play it off the boards and out at center. Panthers back after it again. Up on the left wing and in over the line for Schmidt. That was close to being offside as the long shot went wide. Leafs corral, get it out at center. Brought to the line and in hard to the net is Pacioretty! Scores! Max Pacioretty! Pounds it home on a deflection on a great play to the front of the net. The Leafs lead 2-0.
Bobby McMahon with a great burst of speed to get to the puck on the left wing side. In the Leaf zone, it all starts Max Domi. Chips it out. And Bobby McMahon takes off on the left wing side. Pacioretty goes to the front of the net, and it's a saucer pass out front that is knocked in on the backhand by Max Pacioretty, who ended the Ottawa series with a game-winning goal in Game 6. Is this enough insurance to force Game 7 against Florida?
What a huge goal for Max Pacioretty, set up by Bobby McMahon. Pacioretty's third of the postseason. And the Maple Leafs, trying to come up off the mortician slab, have got a 2-0 lead. Boquist shoots it down into the Toronto zone. On the boards now is Ekman Larsson getting it up on the wing. It'll come to the line, but not out. A long shot is swallowed up by Wall, and he will hold for a face-off in the Toronto zone. What an enormous goal that is from Max Pacioretty.
They're not blessed with the greatest speed in the game, but boy, did he get to the front of the net, in behind the defense, to just chip that backhander into the right arm of Bobrovsky.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio. And Max Pacioretty scoring the biggest goal he has scored for the Toronto Maple Leafs to give them a 2-0 lead. Domi draws an additional assist on the goal. Marner against the boards on the near side, got it to the line and flipped to center ice. 5:16 to play in the third period. Mikkola back in his own zone. Panthers start out with it. Shots favor Florida 18-17. Play bogs down at the Toronto blue line. Leaf player trying to get his stick. Who was that? That was Jake McCabe. And now with the stick in his hand, he finds Chris Tanev with it and is able to get it out into the center ice area.
We saw Watton taking a shift now with Matthews and Marner.
Nyes has played, but not every shift. Played down into the Toronto zone. Into the near corner it goes for McMahon. McMahon bodies there. The puck goes back of the net. Played around the boards to the point, but kept in by Florida. Round back of the goal is coming to the near side. Domi unable to get to it, but now does, and is able to chip it out into the center ice area. Pacioretty unable to reach it. Cleared high to center for Bennett. Bennett gets it to the line, but can't get into the zone. Panthers back in neutral ice. Shot in with 4:12 to play in the third period. Down the boards it goes for Oliver Ekman-Larsson to Pacioretty. Airmailed high to center ice. Won't have enough. No, won't have enough to go for icing. And the Panthers have to go back to recover the puck. Under 4 minutes to play. Leafs 2. Florida no score. Trying to force a game 7. Shot right back down into the Toronto end. Wall slowed it up, but not enough to trap it back of the goal. Panthers with it down along the boards to the blue line. Chipped by Tavares to the line, and out it comes. Panthers have it under control, though, back at their own blue line. 3:36 to play. Come on, clock, move. Back down into the Florida zone it goes.
You got to think Bobrovsky's heading to the bench soon.
I would think. Kulikov with it back of the Florida net. Bobrovsky looking at the bench. Kulikov starting out with it. Up on the right side it goes and into the Toronto end. Played around the boards for Brandon Carlo. He and Matthews after it. Got it up on the wing. Unable to reach it was Marner. Back now the net is empty and they have 6 attackers on. Puck is pinned up against the boards. Back of the Toronto goal. Doing a good job there was Benoit. It comes free to the far side. Lawton couldn't get to it. Matthews does, but his weak backhand didn't clear. Shot coming, stopped by Wall. Rebound side of the goal, knocked away. Cleared into the corner and back to the point. Panthers keeping it in, 2:45. Pass intercepted. The Leafs are going to get it out and down the ice, way wide of the goal, but an icing call nonetheless.
Well, you would hate to have seen that backfire as Austin Matthews, who right now has the winning goal of this game on a stick. Had a little bit of time, tried to backhand it. I think he was trying to hit Mitch Marner, but missed him and went right back to the left point. And Florida got a great scoring chance out of it. Puck was redirected right in front of Joseph Wall. Shots on goal here in the third period, Joe, have just been 4 apiece. Leafs have scored on 2 of them.
Draw won by the Maple Leafs. Back of the goal. Benoit chipping it to the line, but it won't clear. He gets another opportunity with it to Matthews, and this time Matthews gets it high and not far, but out at center ice nonetheless. 2:22 left to play in the third. Into the slot area for Jones. A shot goes deflecting wide of the net. Marner has it on the left wing boards and gets it ahead. Trying to chip it ahead was Nyes, or at least Holmberg, I'm sorry, but he couldn't get by the last defender. Here's Barkov to the line and in on the left wing. Sends it into the corner. Knocked back in along the boards for Verhaeghe. The puck around back of the net goes to the far point. Trapped there by Florida. They maintain possession. Shot swallowed up by Wall. And it is held for a face-off with 1:48 left to go in the third period. Leafs 2, Panthers no score.
Well, we talked about after that Matthews turnover, it was Carter Verhaeghe had the great chance on the rebound, and I think Chris Tanev got a shin pad on it.
And it went off the side of the goal, right?
Yeah, we've got a timeout here. By the way, that's the first time in this playoffs that the Florida Panthers have entered the third period tied. Leafs are 1-1 in the 2 games. They entered the third tied in the Ottawa series. 1:48 to go, and now everything has added importance, including this face-off for the Leafs.
Matthews opened the scoring in the third period at 6:20. And then at 14:17, McMahon got the puck to Max Pacioretty, who jammed it home for a 2-0 Toronto advantage, and a little bit of breathing room here in Game 6. with 1:48 to play in the third period. Teams have completed their timeout.
And Bobby McMahon, you go back to the regular season, he hasn't scored since the Leafs played in March against Philadelphia. Hasn't scored on the road since they played the New York Rangers March 20th. But boy, what a huge assist that was.
Draw in the Toronto zone to the left of Wall. And the draw is scrummed. It goes into the corner. Leafs get it back to the net. Punched around the boards for Marner. Marner against the boards. Couldn't come up with it. Jake McCabe gets it back for Tanev. Tanev launches it on a bounce, but it was out over the line, and it is whistled down offside.
Seth Jones is arguing with the official.
So the faceoff comes outside the Toronto zone with 1:34 to go.
Even if you were right in the argument on a play like that, doesn't matter much, right? If the whistle's already gone. Paul Maurice showing some concern on the Florida bench. Leafs still have work to do.
Panthers shoot it into the Toronto zone. Tanev against the boards on the near side, scrums it up. Here is Barkov getting it in front of the net. A shot is blocked. The rebound comes back to the blue line. Kept alive now for Bennett. A shot blocked. Rebound goes knocking wide. It comes to the line and out at center ice. 1:12 to go. Jones shooting it back in again. Wall let it go around the boards to Matthews. Matthews couldn't clear, centering pass. Blockered into the corner by Wall. Minute to go on the near boards for Marner. Got it out at center ice. Big clear there by Mitchell Marner. Jones with it again. To the red line. Shot back into the Toronto end. Brandon Carlo against the boards. Trying to pin it there for all he's worth. Got it loose, but it's Marchand getting it back to the point. Jones with a shot. Blocked. Another shot. Blocked. Another shot in front of the net. Cleared into the corner. 34 seconds left. Another shot blocked. Cleared by the Leafs to the line, but not out. Barkov sends it into the corner, centered in front, knocked away from Wall. It comes free. Leafs are going to get it high to center ice. Knocked it over the line by Pontus Holmberg. 18 seconds left. Marchand into the slot. Carlo knocked it away. 12 seconds left. Leafs with the puck. Chance to clear. They'll get it out. They were on the mortician slab, but as Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein would say, he's alive! He's alive! He'll fight another day! We get Kachuk into a pushing and shoving session now.
And Marchand sniffing around as well, but at least get to the dressing room, get on the plane, come home and get ready for Game 7. As Joseph Wall, you'll remember last year, Game 6 against the Boston Bruins, came a second away from his first NHL playoff shutout. But he gets it here in a huge moment where he had to be perfect in a 2-0 Toronto win. And you couldn't write a better script, could you? Leafs get the win. Matthews scores a winning goal for Mitch Marner. And you called it, I think you said it during one of the intermissions or commercial breaks, that the goal that wins it is going to be an ugly one. And that's not a great goal for Sergei Bobrovsky to give up 5-hole on a shot coming off the wing. But it was ugly enough to be a winner. And the Leafs, if they're able to get through this series, you're going to hear a lot of players saying nobody believed in us, but we believed in ourselves. And they're probably going to be right if they can do it. But certainly their best defensive effort. And, you know, we can talk about this series. We can talk about this playoff. This might be their best playoff effort in the 7-8 year run that this group has had.
What was the best save Joe Wall made?
Well, it was off Boquist, right? A right pad save.
But how many were it?
Yeah, I would say that was the one.
Yeah, exactly. That was how well defensively the Leafs played in front of them. Just 7 shots allowed in the third period. The Leafs scored twice on Sergei Bobrovsky in the series. Well, pack your passports, boys. You're coming back to Canada, so hopefully you'll enjoy the.
Yeah, we're taking a look, by the way, of Austin Matthews. You can see a cut right under his right eye. We saw him take a Barkov stick right off a face-off.
It's not a cut as much as it's an abrasion, I think. Eh?
Yeah, so, but that was a little too close.
All right. Well, 3 stars brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at desjardins.com/care today.
Well, we are going to say star number 3, Joseph Wall, but it's going to really represent the entire defense corps, Joe, who were outstanding, blocking shots, clearing pucks. The Leafs showed great patience all night and were great. So Joseph Wall really represents the 6 guys in front of him that played defense tonight. Star number 2, Max Pacioretty. He's got the series-winning goal against Ottawa in the first round. A huge goal that gave the Leafs a little bit of breathing room, although it didn't feel like it, did it? Even with Bobrovsky on the bench for the final 2 minutes. And Austin Matthews scores in the second round of the playoffs. He had not scored since Game 6 against the Ottawa Senators. A lot of talk, a lot of noise about him and Mitch Marner needing to come up big in this game. Matthews scores an assist from Mitch Marner, and that is a game winner.
Sometimes it's not how many, but how important. And this was about as important as it's going to get. So that means there is a Game 7, 7:30 Sunday night. And I know that it will be, well, quite an evening. And you know what? The fans were completely
within their rights.
Within their rights of what they did. I'm never really too excited about the jersey throwing on the ice. I understand that. But these things do happen. But this team has shown a great deal of character to fight through this tonight and force Game 7. And here's the other thing. The Leafs ended up winning this series. They get home ice advantage in the next round, too, because they had more points than the Carolina Hurricanes.
Well,
so
let's make sure they take advantage of home ice advantage on Sunday. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, we will be there. We hope that you will join us. Until then, we are...
Oh, one more thing I want to say. When you talk about the Leafs numbers and elimination games and everything else, let's not forget the Florida Panthers last year had a 3-0 lead over the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. And Edmonton clawed their way back to a Game 7. So it's hard not to feel like Florida is unbeatable because, you see when they're on their game, they're so hard to play against. But there is a little bit of history there that they're not perfect either.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Jimmy and I will be there at Scotiabank Arena on Sunday night. We trust that you will join us. Ailish Farfar is coming along with Justin Cuthbert. Final score, the Leafs 2, the Florida Panthers 0. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.